Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to go through my tips for studying for the LSAT. I just want to start this video off by saying definitely go into this process with an open mind and always remember that standardized testing is not at all a great representation of your intelligence. At the end of the day, it's literally just a score. So you have to keep everything in perspective. A lot of people say their LSAT is the most important part of your application, and while it is important and you should not take that lightly, you also should not beat yourself up over a score or try to kill yourself to get a perfect score. Study, put your best effort in, and then make sure all other components of your application are just as pristine. So with that being said, I took the LSAT 2 times. I took the July and August test. I studied about 3 months before I took the July test, so I started my studying end of April. I scored a 158 on the July test. That was the 72nd percentile, and that was not the score I wanted. I wanted to at least break 160. So yeah, I studied for another month for the August one, and then I scored a 161, which is the 81st percentile for that specific test. And with that being said, I'm going to go into my tips. My first tip is that you should find strategies that work specifically for you. Don't over rely on one specific strategy. That is ultimately what led to my score increase, because prior to the class I took, I was scoring a 159 on my test, and then I relied on the strategies the class was teaching me, specifically for reading comprehension, but I wasn't able to break out my score range, and thus I still scored a 158 on my actual test, because the test and the strategies are going to vary per student, which is kind of what I talked about in one of my earlier videos, which is why I'm not necessarily a fan of classes from my personal experience, because the classes are teaching you one specific way to take the test, and there are so many strategies out there, and it's literally about trial and error. So self-studying can really help you find what works for you, and then you can narrow in on that specific thing. Second tip is to be disciplined. When I studied for the LSAT, I studied every single day, pretty much literally Monday through Saturday, and I had Sundays off, but not even really off for real all the time. So I studied every single day for 3 months straight. Sometimes I studied from the time I woke up to the time I went to sleep. I had a structured day. Obviously that's not non-stop, but I would take a break, 30-minute break, eat, maybe talk to some of my friends briefly, and go right back to studying. And you really have to be committed to studying. You have to treat it like a job. You have to cut out all your distractions. You have to go ghost. You have to drop off the face of the earth. And you have to study, eat, breathe, and live the LSAT for those 3 months minimum. Some people study more. I only had 3 months in me. I know myself. I could do it for 3 months, and that was it. Third tip. Make sure you do a mix of studying. You can't just read LSAT prep book or only take practice tests. You need to mix the studying methods. I'm going to do a detailed video on exactly what I did in terms of my studying method, how I structured my day. So I will get into that, but you can't just do one or the other. You can't read a book and think it's just gonna click. You have to read the book. You have to understand what it's telling you. You have to practice drilling the strategy with actual LSAT problems. You have to then take time to, you have to drill it untimed, then take a timed section, make sure you can do the full section within the time section, then you need to take a full length to make sure you can do the whole test completely together. So you can't just opt in for one part of the studying. You have to do all of it. My fourth tip is to take a full length at least once a week. The actual test is the same exact thing as taking your practice test. So if you get used to taking a full practice test once a week, then by the time you take your real test, it'll feel like another practice test. It's just, doing the same strategies, utilizing the same skills. It's going to be completely different problems. Problems don't get reused on the LSAT. So yeah, but if you're in the habit of taking the test, it should not feel any different. Fifth tip is the week leading up to your test, do something fun. Stop studying, stop over analyzing, stop doing all of that. Like literally disconnect, take a break from studying, enjoy your week leading up to the test. And I'm speaking from personal experience because I did not listen to this advice when I was taking my second test, because I was like, I'm just gonna study like up until the last minute. Like I want to obtain all the information. Like I want everything. Like I need to do well in this test. Like I was very, very anxious. And I took a full length the day before my test. And you are not supposed to do that. And I did it. And I just that was not a good test day for me. I scored really, really low. I don't even remember what score, but it was like the lowest I had scored in a while. And so I had called my mom freaking out, and I was like, I think I should cancel my test. Like I'm not ready to take it, like blah blah blah. And she was like, you literally did what you weren't supposed to do. Like, you know, you weren't supposed to take a full length today. Like, why did you do that? So that caused me to go into my actual test very, very anxious and very like high strung, worried that I wasn't really prepared and I was doing terrible. So after I took my test, I was like, I know I failed it. Like, I feel like I did awful. I almost canceled my score. And then my mom was like, your law school is only cared about your higher score anyway. If you did bad, you'll just take it again. You'll lock back in, take it again, blah, 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 whatever, it'll be fine. And then I ended up getting a 161. So all that to say, I unnecessarily caused myself stress because I took a practice test before my full-length test. And just don't do that. Take a break. My sixth tip, which I talked in another video, is do not get caught up thinking you have to take a class. I talked about that in a full video, so I'm not going to go into deep detail about that, but self-studying did help me out and was a lot more effective for me personally. So you really need to figure out what works for you before you spend $1,200 on a class. Seventh tip is there are no shortcuts for studying for this test. You're not going to magically find a blueprint online. You're not going to magically watch one of these videos and it's going to be a cheat sheet to the LSAT. Like, that does not exist. You literally have to, like I said earlier, be disciplined, study. Like, you have to put the time and effort into studying if you want to see a score increase. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not something you can read about and instantly get it. Like, it doesn't work like that. So, eighth tip, which is also like equally important as the others, try not to get discouraged. This process is very, very discouraging, and if I did not have people around me like filling me with love and affirmations and reminding me like why I'm doing this in the first place, I would have wanted to give up. So with hard work and time, you should see your score go up. You just have to be consistent. So don't give up. Like, it helps. Like, I had to journal like why I was doing this, why I want to be a lawyer, like why I'm pushing myself to do all this, blah blah blah, whatever helps you, do that. If you have to talk to a friend that knows your ambitions, knows your goals, do that. If that person is your parent, do that. But yeah, try to make sure you're encouraging yourself, other people are encouraging you, and you continue to push yourself towards your end goal. So these were the tips that when I reflected back on my LSAT journey, these are the things that helped me. So I wanted to share them with you guys, and if you have any questions or specific like things you want me to discuss on my channel series, let me know in the comments or Instagram, DM me. I don't know why I said this so weird. DM me on Instagram and I will respond and answer your question to the best of my ability. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful. It's so awkward filming YouTube videos because I'm literally just in my room talking to myself. But I hope it was helpful, and yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.